See the USA in your Chevrolet. America is asking you to call. Drive your Chevrolet through the USA. America's the greatest land of all. On a highway or a road along a levee, performance is sweeter, nothing can beat her. Life is completer in a Chevy. So make a date today to see the USA and see it in your Chevrolet.
For part of March and April, Bobbi and I played host to Katie, a British medical student who we met during Bobbi's studies in the UK. While Bobbi kept Katie quite busy, we did find time to show her some of the joys and the oddities of the quintessential American road trip. Katie enjoyed eating her burritos pinned together with a little American flag on a toothpick. It's the little things that make travel so interesting. She also made fast friends with the Doodles, and with Polly in particular. Our first stop was a trip to the Minnesota Science Museum in St. Paul. In addition to learning about how the heart works, we got a good look at a few dinosaur bones, too. Bobbi and Katie tried their hand at the evening news. A few weeks into the visit, Rachel, Bobbi's friend from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, and Katie's best friend from forever, arrived. A crash course in barbecue was perhaps less than successful. Each afternoon, I picked the girls up to bring them home from a long and hard day at the lab. At last, we set out on Katie's great American road trip. Time did not allow us to pick a destination as grand as Mount Rushmore, so we had to settle for 2 days in the vicinity of Madison, Wisconsin, aiming for the House on the Rock and whatever other oddities chance might throw in our way. Once across the Mississippi River and into Wisconsin, we were able to introduce Katie to a few typical roadside American artifacts: a group of dinosaurs made of scrap metal, the ever-present messaging of the religious right, a truck stop sign made from a real truck, a stop at Sparta, home of the world's largest bicyclist, and of course, a Wisconsin cheese shop complete with, what else? A giant mouse. And yes, all the cheese was yellow. A stop in the Wisconsin Dells gave Katie a taste for the tourist trap town, mini golf, t-shirts, water parks, and a giant troll singing "It's a Wonderful World." It also gave Katie and Rachel a closer look at America's vibrant religious culture. In the afternoon, we reached Madison, Wisconsin. A good time was had by all, window shopping, eating an Afghani dinner, and once again watching our English friends come face to face with the faith of our fathers. You won't find any lights under any bushels here in America. The next morning, our English guests got to experience the continental breakfast and make-your-own waffle fest that has become standard at most American motels. Then it was back on the road. The girls were thrilled to see a replica of one of the cars from the Transformers movie, and later we stopped at Peck's Farm Market and Petting Zoo. Despite the fact that it was Easter Sunday and the store was closed, the animals were happy to see us. Bobbi, Rachel, and Katie posed in the giant pumpkin and beside the Pioneer wagon, and then it was off to feed the goats, see the turkeys, and pet the donkey. Peck's had built a goat climbing wall of sorts. A pulley system allowed Rachel to send a bucket of goat feed, one handful for 25 cents, up to the top of a tall tower where, sure enough, the goats were waiting. After a fond farewell to the goats, we traveled the last few miles through a countryside not unlike Vermont's to reach Alex Jordan's House on the Rock. We've heard two stories about how this regionally famous tourist attraction came to be. The first was that Alex Jordan fell in love with a piece of land and decided to build a house atop a spire of rock about 60 feet tall and 70 feet by 200 feet wide. The second version said that the house was built to spite famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright, who had built nearby and who had once insulted Jordan. But once Jordan had completed his Asian-themed house, it became a tourist attraction. Jordan began to build upon it by indulging his love both of collecting real items and of building absurd objects, giant cannons, a fantastically large carousel, and dozens of assemblages of automatic musical combos. Combinations of calliopes, player pianos, and automated drums provided the musical backdrop for our journey through the house. The house itself is lit by a vast and slightly odd collection of Tiffany-style lamps and is often built up around the trees that were originally on the rock. The Infinity Room juts out over 200 feet from the side of the rock. Alex Jordan collected stained glass, books and statues, odd weapons and toys. Bobbi's favorite stop was the apothecary storefront, which included the sanitary tapeworms. "Eat all you want and never gain weight," said the ad. Perhaps the most impressive sight is the Heritage of the Sea building. Not only does it contain hundreds of model ships, uniforms, scrimshaw, and other nautical memorabilia, but the room is dominated by a 3-story high sculpture of a whale-like leviathan battling with a giant octopus. At some points, as we listened to an Asian ensemble play the Danse Macabre, it seemed that the exhibit really had no ending. But then, as one of the workers on the site said, we could fabricate anything we wanted to. It was just one guy's giant sandbox where he kept building stuff. Certainly, it was a road trip I won't forget in a hurry.